You need to hold the mic right here.
A little closer. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm always so scared because
That kind of one, it doesn't like get sound from
Okay.
far away.
All right, good.
Yeah.
That makes me happy.
Yeah.
Because it's usually the other way, where I talk so loud that I have to hold it out here.
Yeah, it looks like it would be.
Yeah.
Keep sound, but it just kind of works like a
Like you
like
said,
a handheld.
it's a better mic.
Yeah, it's a good mic.
It's like all silver. It's all silver. It's very comfortable to hold. I don't feel like it's going to come unclipped in any second.
Yeah, that's a kind of nice thing about it, about microphones.
This microphone would make a good vibrator as well because it wouldn't come unplugged if you needed to charge it.
Yeah, that's another thing I like about
Sturdy. Yeah. That would explain the smell. But that's okay. It's not an offensive one.
it. Yeah, well,
It's rather loving.
a lot of people use it and have used it.
You landed out.
A lot of people have used that microphone.
Yeah. Yeah. For microphone and non-microphone purposes.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Regardless.
You gotta have a little fun with phallic
You
shaped.
gotta have some fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put a microphone in your butt from time to time. Who gives a shit?
That's what your butt is shaped like.
It's actually that's the second thing I learned in stand-up comedy. The first thing I learned was no shorts on stage. The second thing I learned was every now and then put a microphone in your butt. Because how are you going to feel?
Why not do both, shorts on stage and a microphone in your butt?
Well, then if the microphone falls out, they might see it.
Yeah.
Whereas if it goes down your leg, they might just think you got a rat crawling on your leg, you know? Could be anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get to hide it with pants. You get to hide things with pants more.
Pants are a little more concealing.
Uh-huh.
That's why I wore mine today. I have nothing under there to conceal other than my genitalia. But
Right.
in theory, if I needed to conceal something on a calf or a shin,
Yeah.
I'd be in a good spot.
Like wear really short shorts so that maybe your genitalia might show up.
And
might
then-
do a part.
As long
whatever.
as it's not too cold or if I'm not too nervous, you know.
Right.
If it's too cold, I might turtle up. But I would have the bulge in the back because if I wore the short shorts, you could definitely see the microphone sticking out of my ass. I don't think I'm going to get much further in than about right there if I know me. And now maybe I shouldn't have such narrow-sighted goals. Maybe I should try to, go for it down here too.
Yeah, well, it's not the thickest microphone, and
That's true.
It's like when it gets wider towards at a certain point there.
Yeah,
and,
if you can get past the head of it, it's kind of like a.
oh, so you're saying go put the entire thing all the way?
If I
in
could,
your ass.
I don't know. I don't want to promise anything. To the
Yeah, have you
audience.
done one that long?
Not in recent memory.
Okay.
That's
microphones, I mean.
A lot of blurry stand-up comedy memories circa 2014 to 2017. I could have squatted a mic for all I know. I could have been like, hey, this is my Andy Kaufman abstract period where I'm going to make you think instead of make you laugh. But if I make you laugh, that also makes you think. So why don't
Andy Kaufman?
I'm going to squat this microphone and then maybe try to get it back out within my 5 minutes. But if they give me the light and it's not coming back out, you just got to come back next week. And I have to walk around with a mic in my butt for 7 days.
Yeah, so it's got the cord in and it's like plugged into something.
Still plugged in. Someone has to roll the amp behind
So
me.
hopefully, like it's far enough up that it's like getting some sounds from your rectum or like from your bowel inside you. I mean.
Yeah, it's hearing a fart being made before the fart releases.
Yeah, that's groundbreaking.
Yeah, like some behind the scenes fart making. There's probably a whole factory in there.
I wish we could put a camera up in there and see it. Just behind the scenes.
Doctors should look into putting cameras way up people's assholes.
Yeah, well, it's an important movement to like in media.
Oh yeah.
To do that, to show you actually, it's not just about what happens on the surface, what you see.
No.
Go behind the scenes. Doctors need to do that just so we can be more entertaining
Dive
as a
in
society.
there. Yeah. I don't want to see the fake shit. I want to see the real shit. Whichever intestine it's in.
Especially when we haven't seen it before.
Yeah. No, I've seen it when it's come out. I've never seen it get made.
Or heard it. Or heard the fart.
Yeah.
What does the pre-fart sound like?
Yeah. Yeah. Do they have somebody in there workshopping it on a keyboard?
Yeah, there's like a DJ or somebody.
And then somebody in there for the fragrance. Yeah. To go with the guy on the DJ. He's like, I hear your vibration.
You've got to have a fragrance person.
Oh, yeah. And he's probably got the worst job. Because he's got to smell test every fart.
Yeah, but he probably likes it or whatever. That he got into that position.
Yeah, he's like, oh, darn, it looks like someone has to smell the farts.
He always acts like, I hate this job.
Another day at the office. Guess I got to do overtime. It would be kind of cool to see like a Crunchwrap Supreme go down my gullet and then eventually become shit.
Yeah. Like, see what that fart starts out as.
Yeah.
Like what that fart is versus the other ones.
Yeah. Yeah, all kinds of different directions your fart.
There's got to be some knowledge that we can gain off of that. Like, I guess doctors are protecting it. That's the problems. Hospitals.
Yeah.
They're not letting us be surgeons on our own or whatever.
Why?
It's probably like illegal to stick anything too far up your ass unless you're a doctor.
Well, depending on which state you're in, yeah. There's some certain states that restrict anal play, even if it's for informational purposes. But yeah, no, I would. Yeah, you know what? They want to declassify aliens. They want to declassify the Kennedy assassination. Declassify butthole and rectum and intestine operations. Who are the guys working behind there?
Why does it have to be a professional?
Yeah.
Why does it have to be the experts?
Yeah. I got 4
the
cousins.
Experts of digging up into your butt?
Yeah. Yeah, who made them experts? I feel like I know my butt better. I'm with my butt every day.
Right.
I'm with this stomach and this asshole every day.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be going to doctors for verifications.
Yeah, doctors come in and they're like, no, we're the people who know about all of that.
Yeah, we know your asshole better than you. No, you don't. No,
right.
you don't.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
It's a fact that you don't.
If you know my asshole better than me, then wipe my asshole after I shit. And let's see who does a better job. Because I'm going with me every time.
Yeah.
There's no way someone can wipe my ass
They should have
better.
to do that to keep their license.
Yeah. They should have to once a year, like teachers have to do accreditations every like 2 years.
Yeah.
Doctors should have to wipe an asshole clean.
Right.
Every 6 months to a year.
At least like 10 or something.
Yeah. And you got to do it like in under 10 minutes and you can't puke. I don't care what you're cleaning up. You're a doctor. Get over it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's probably some doctors that have like a weak stomach
Oh, yeah.
that they get into it and they're like, actually, just like them or anybody who gets into a job that they're not good at.
Yeah. Like,
and then they do that for life.
Tom Segura used to want to write a show about, and I haven't seen the sketch show, so maybe he made it into a sketch, but he always talked about this show that he pitched to Fox about like how every graduating class has obviously like the smartest kid in the class and then the dumbest kid. So he wanted to do the dumbest kid in med school. Just a TV show about that guy. And I bet you that's a guy who's not going to know my asshole like me. That idiot? No way. He's the dumbest kid in med school.
Right.
I don't want that guy fingering my butt.
Right.
No way. That's just a risk.
There's a bunch of doctors that are just shitty at it.
Yeah. They're not good at fingering butts. They can't detect a fart from a shit.
They can't distinguish between those. Yeah.
They're not good at what they do.
Yeah. Doctors are awful.
That's what I've been saying. If we have medicine readily available...
Let's get rid of doctors.
Yeah. If we have medicine readily available over the counter, why do I need to go to the doctor? Riddle me that, government.
Why can't we just do the pharmacy?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Just let me go to the pharmacy or give me some food that'll heal it.
Yeah, and let people know about what drugs go to what symptoms.
Yeah.
Too. So you can just look up on the pharmacy.
Yeah.
That's what they should teach people.
Yeah.
They're not going to do that because we need doctors.
We kind of need doctors, unfortunately.
We need surgeons and stuff like that.
I've been working on a theory for a long time that surgeons and serial killers, the only difference is one of them knows how to measure cuts. The other one kind of freelances it. Doctors are so close to being... Surgeons are so close to being serial killers.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's arguably creepier.
They've got to be really sort of robotic, like analytical kind of personalities.
Sure. Like, if you're going to kill me, you're just going to come in and take a whack at it till you hit something, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you're a little bit tactical, but even then, you're still kind of just like, if I hit here, it's going to hit one of them. Mm-hmm. Doctors are like, I have to make a 3-centimeter incision and then go in at like a 70-degree angle as to not hit any major arteries or veins. And then I have to remove this cyst.
Yeah.
Cleanly, detach it from all the nerve endings and all that shit. And then I gotta sew this guy back up all before he, she, or they bleed to death or fucking wake up from the anesthesia. There's like a whole, I think, TV show on TLC about people who wake up from anesthesia too soon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's like nightmare fuel.
When it's like painful enough, or is it more just that they see it?
So I think the way they get you under is they obviously take into account like your BMI and everything and your age.
Yeah.
And then they have like an estimated amount of anesthesia that they think they need to give you.
Yep.
But if something goes wrong during the surgery and they need more time, they can't, as far as I know, they can't just go, yeah, a little more anesthesia because you've already kind of hit your limit.
Right.
So they have to figure out how to make sure they can either safely give you
They
more.
can't re-up on anesthesia.
Yeah, it's not as easy as you would think. Like, obviously, it's, your car's low on gas. Just put more fucking gas in it.
Yeah.
But with anesthesia, I think they have to wait till you're at a certain level of not...
Yeah.
Like, you're almost awake, and then they can give you more if they have to or some shit. But even then, they have to make sure that they remain within the guidelines of your body. Like, if you have diabetes, respiratory, all that kind of shit. It's fucking wild, and that's why they have to know all that shit. That's why they're bigger psychopaths than serial killers. Serial killers, they just kind of get a hunch. Like, I'm going to do that. And then they just do it. Doctors are like, let's figure out exactly how much we need to do to not kill this person. It's fucking crazy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's good for doctors they found a thing to do, or like maybe they would have been a serial killer otherwise,
and they would have been so good at it because they would have had proper incisions to like reduce bleeding.
Who's the best serial killer in your opinion? In history?
Great question.
Like, Jeffrey Dahmer's pretty good. People are pretty captivated by him.
Yeah,
like that they make a story about him, and
I think he's the most gruesome.
Okay,
with the cannibalism and all that. But I think the best might have to be the Zodiac Killer because I still don't think they know who it is.
They didn't catch him.
So every time they say they caught him, I always feel like I end up reading the article and they don't have one name. I know this most recent time around, I think they might have it pinned down. But the fact that they caught the Golden State Killer before Zodiac, and one of the theories is that the Golden State Killer was also Zodiac. But, like, we've never definitively narrowed down the Zodiac Killer.
They give them separate death totals of people.
I think they...
The Zodiac Killer is cool since he sent in those letters.
He did.
Right, to the police, like, every time he killed someone.
He was the original astrology girlie. Because he would fucking send in those Zodiac signs and be like, decipher this, bitch.
Yeah.
And they would get, like, 89% of it deciphered. But Jake Gyllenhaal just couldn't get that last little bit.
Damn it.
I don't know if you've ever seen the movie. Good movie. But, I'd say Zodiac. H.H. Holmes got away with a good amount of it for a while. The original Jack the Ripper, who was also...
Oh, he's great.
Yeah, the OG one. It probably would be...
Because it's like London before they knew about serial killers. It's an important part of it.
Yeah.
He's like the first one or something.
Pretty much.
But, like, there's probably plenty, or before him, that just didn't get historyized.
Yeah. Because, and those were the times,
so
too.
It speaks to branding, like, the style that you get remembered.
Eras. Like with the NBA. It's like, the Zodiac was really good, but his era, they didn't have, Ring doorbell cameras. So, it's kind of like he was playing against plumbers, Whereas
Pretty
like
much.
a serial killer nowadays has
The
to be
70s, they really hit their stride. Like that was when the league was the strongest.
I would
the
say
70s.
top to bottom. You're right. Like serial killers. I mean,
John Wayne Gacy. I
John
mean,
Wayne
wow.
Gacy. There was a Boston Strangler. There was like a San Diego Strangler.
Uh-huh.
There was.
I think Ted Bundy was 70s.
He was running around in the 70s. Dahmer was kind of starting to fuck around in the 70s. I think
he was starting to dabble in the 70s, honing his craft.
It was kind of like how LeBron came into the league when Kobe was already like 6 or 7 years in.
Yeah. It's like when Jack Nicklaus came when Arnold Palmer was there before him. Yeah.
Sometimes greatness overlaps and we have to be thankful. It's like when Brady and Mahomes went at it in the Super Bowl. You know?
Yeah, that's a rare opportunity and you're not going to get that very often. When it's happening, you don't even know how great it is.
No, and news was so localized back then, you know, like word didn't travel right away. Bundy was getting away with it in Seattle long before Florida ever knew about him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then one day somebody made some.
He can kind of kill wherever he wants.
Oh, yeah.
I'd say.
I think he had.
He's a very good murderer.
Known murders in Washington State, Colorado, Florida, and maybe 2 other places.
I didn't realize he murdered in Florida.
That was actually where
he
got
killed
caught.
On stage.
He had a killer tour.
Yeah. We do this in comedy. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Kill on stage.
Yeah. I'm going to
Somebody
kill
dies.
in your club. And I'll let you interpret it.
I'll kill somebody if I don't kill. Just so I can tell everyone I killed.
If I don't get 100% satisfaction, somebody's not walking out of here. Like, that's probably why Kim Jong-un is actually the greatest stand-up of all time.
Okay.
Because if he wants to, he can just tour North Korea, and people are either going to laugh or he's going to shoot them in the head. Either way, he's no skin off his back, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, when he golfs, people write 18 for his score. He's like, yeah, I hit a hole-in-one on every hole. And then
They really do that?
Oh, yeah, and then somebody will be like, no, you didn't. And he'll be like, you know what to do. He'll just tell his bodyguards on with him. He said I eagled on one hole. Could you believe I wouldn't hit a hole-in-one?
Wow.
Yeah.
So he's got that like so far out of touch that he wouldn't even care about making it sound realistic.
No. He's,
like 18.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
But he's like, whatever, so full blown propaganda about it that he's like, I don't even care. He doesn't even care about learning about golf enough to know.
Yeah, that's absolutely impossible.
Yeah, or is it like you're saying that really he does that for real? Like at 18.
I've heard a lot of things about him that seem ridiculous, but then most of them end up being
I've heard
true.
other things like that sound like that sounds.
You're
like
like, there's no way, and then you find out like, oh, actually, wow.
So is he going that overboard almost as a joke? You would wonder.
I think so. I think he's like, let's see who wants to try and stand up to me, and he might be
18 on golf.
He might be so sick in the head too that like, if somebody does go, no, that's bullshit. You shot a 43 on the front 9 alone. He might like go, I respect him. He stands up to me. And then the second guy that's like, actually I counted 46. He then kills him because he's like, you're a follower. You weren't the first one. Right. He might. I mean, he does whatever he wants. He's got a hot sister too.
Okay.
Yeah. I think she's had people killed too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So she's up there and then people get to see her.
Yeah, she's like,
and also she's getting people killed.
Yeah, so she just gets annoyed.
Probably.
She's like, I don't like him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, I got this. And then he either sprays a little mist in the air and they have a heart attack, or he has somebody take him to.
It would be great to have that much power.
Yeah. First thing I would do if I was that in charge like that, and I was just a dictator. First thing I would do is tell everybody to keep working their jobs, but everything's free. Let's get some goodness of your own heart going. Like, if you're a pilot, you'll never get paid, but you'll also never have to buy anything. So just keep flying planes if you can, please.
Just make everything free.
Yeah. Yeah. We might not last long, but it'll be fun. Yeah. As an economy, we're going to fuck up the world's economy because we're not going to be kicking in.
Yeah.
But for the...
I wonder what that would look like, or what happens when you just say, no one's getting paid, but also no one has to buy anything.
Yeah. We're just taking all the advancements that we have and we're going to live with this. Like, we'll never get another new iPhone in this country, but there's plenty of people to repair your iPhone if it goes awry.
Yeah.
And it's no cost to you. You don't where you live right now. Congratulations, you can live there for the rest of your life.
So it's just like everybody would do what they wanted, and
Yeah.
there weren't constraints by money.
Yeah.
So then you'd get people making the new invention only because they wanted to.
If they were just bored fucking around. Now the downside to this would be like, oh, if it's free for everything, then everybody's gonna go to the airport because everybody's gonna.
And the
wanna
poor
fly.
people will have all the same money as me.
And I can't have that.
Yeah.
I need to be better than people.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. What do you mean a society where there are people equal to me? Gross.
Then you see someone who is poor and you don't get to say that that's what you think that it is anymore.
They're like, no, I live on the same block as you. And you're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, appearances would be different.
Yeah.
Because everyone would be the same.
Yeah. And it makes you wonder, like, would we all then...
Are you some kind of socialist?
Yeah, I guess. I think I am. By mistake. I never meant to become a socialist.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I know. Get not just out of your house either, out of the country. I need to go to Canada with my pussy ass views on politics. I just want people to be able to work one job and live a good life. That's it. And I think that might be extreme. Such as
We
life.
need to have better policies. The police. What do you think about the police? Not just the band.
I was gonna say, I think Sting was the reason they broke up. From what I hear, he's kind of an asshole. But no, I think there's a lot of situations you could point to and say, I wish the police had a little more trust and faith in its people. But I know I've never been like a cop, so it's probably out of line for me to suggest things.
What I think is that you have the police, the ones that travel around in the cars, but I think even worse than that are the police just people. Everybody acts like a policeman.
Oh, yeah, like
lots of people
HOAs
do.
are awful. Like, citizens arrest people are usually pretty awful.
Sure, citizens arrest. I just feel like citizens arrest happens all the time. Everyone is just policing everyone.
Like, kids...
I think everyone is... I mean, there's a lot of policing.
I do think people want to be the ones that say gotcha more often than not. And it's like, that's a weird way to go, you know? It's, I think some people are hall monitors in school, and they get that taste for power, and they just never let it go. And
it's a lot of rule followers,
Yeah.
is what I'm saying, I guess.
Right. And
I don't like the rule followers.
Nah.
People that enforce policy.
Yeah.
That have policies.
Yeah. That's why I want to have a country where nothing costs any money.
Yeah.
Like, fun chaos is my game.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm probably not the most educated on police and constituent relations.
Sure, yeah. What would be the way that society was governed? Is if there was any sort of... Like, what would keep it together?
Yeah, that's the thing. I'd have to rely on, like... You know how baseball used to have, like, the unwritten rules? Where it's like... this is
No, I don't.
Yeah, so, like, you know, back in the day, a big unwritten rule was, like... Hey, if it's getting obvious that you're not just losing control of your pitches and you're plunking our guys, we're gonna hit you back.
Sure.
You know, another unwritten rule, like kind of like when you have, when you have a giant lead in the fourth quarter and you're the better team in football, you don't throw passes, you just run the clock out when you're on offense.
Yep.
So we would all have to rely on, like, come on, dude, don't be a dick. But that's the problem, is like all it takes is one person to, like, I've said before, like, if everybody in the world had the same amount of money and we were all cool, it would only take one person to, like, kill somebody and take their money for all of us to react. And now it's like nobody trusts anybody again because this one person was like, I don't like equality. So I don't know
in this society where everyone has the same amount of money.
Yeah.
It'd be hard to keep it together.
It would, because I think
Somebody would.
Yeah, within humanity, within the 8 billion people or so that live here, there's always just going to be people that are greedy or
Like, there's always going to be somebody who would mess it up, is
absolutely
sort of what you're saying.
Yeah, some people cannot just sit by and watch things happen and be happy that it's okay. You know, they have to acquire more. They have to have more. They have to be able to.
They want to take down something. Maybe, that
and
they
want
don't
to be able
like.
to have leverage. I think people like having leverage too, regardless of their position on a stance.
Just people want to be. They're gonna want to be better than other people.
Yeah, and I think that's okay.
Someone
in some
is.
things.
Yeah.
Like if we still have sports and art and medical tech.
Yeah, but in sports, it's all like that competition.
Of course, yeah. Like those things, I'm fine with. Like people wanting to outdo the other person just for the betterment of the thing. But when it comes to like, if we were all equal and then somebody started like taking people out to gain assets and leverage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we're all forced to react, and that's why my hippie extremist ways would never work. And that's why people are like, shut up, Tubby. Stick to fart cameras.
They say that?
Yeah.
They said that specifically?
Everybody has since like 4th grade. They're like,
don't go fart cameras.
Don't go talking politics there, fatty. Why don't you stick to fart cameras and talking about how doctors and serial killers are cousins.
Well, it's because you're funny.
Yeah.
It's like it's funny to hear you be funny about things.
And I'm way better at being funny than I am at figuring out policy. All I know is I don't want I want equality for everybody. So that's where I land.
Yeah.
And I think some people think that it's equal and it's not. And I'll let everybody in the comments decide who is equal and who's not.
The comments are going to be just
firing off, dude.
you. Yeah.
Firing off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because like I've marched in protests that are, like in 2020, I marched in like those protests that were, I guess, anti-police and
Okay.
at that time regime.
Do you like to protest?
I think I don't make a lot of them, and the main reason is...
Do you like to get political?
I don't think I like to get political, but I do think there's certain moments in history where it feels like citizens' rights are really under threat. And
the French Revolution.
Yeah, and I think the French are probably the best at protesting. They
do it. It's a little bit it's artsy.
Yeah, and they're always lighting stuff on fire, and it's usually government buildings.
France is already known to be artistic,
yeah.
So they can kind of just dip into protests and do light stuff on fire.
And there's always like a cool guy that's painting it while it's happening. You know what I mean? He's got like a mustache and a long cigarette, and he's just fucking whittling away.
Yeah, well, the thing that's happening is already an art piece, and they're all like, we love that's what it is. In America, they're more critical of it. It's like at protests.
Yeah, more like riot is what they'll say in America. But in truth, though, I think it's probably easier for France to light their government buildings on fire because I don't think their government's military is as strapped up as ours. I mean, we got everything. We got guns and weapons that, like, if somebody tried to burn even just, like, a state house down, they'd be fucking lit up before they got to safety.
Yep, we have a lot of weapons. Yeah. And we have so much material that we just throw a bunch of it away.
Yeah, I think 'cause some things expire before we get to use them.
The military is expiring. They're like, operating inefficiently.
Yeah.
That's what I know about it. I worked for the government, for the Department of Defense.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you get to see the budget.
I got to see some of the things that go on down there.
And you're like, I don't know about all that money on that. Is that what you think to yourself at your desk?
I just think, like, wow, this job is so whack because, like, it shouldn't exist because, like, Amazon could do all of it and do it a lot faster. What my job was. That's what I thought. I thought, like, this job isn't even real.
The robots can build the gun and send the email.
Yeah, I would just send emails all day.
Yeah. A lot of emailing.
That's kind of what the military is now, and, like, really, sort of. And that's, like, the intelligence of it is a bunch of kind of, I would say, dim-witted people that work there. I mean... that are just sending emails.
Dude, I love
that are sending crappy emails to each other. That's what the military is.
I love this. I'm getting water cooler talk about our nation's defense. This isn't like an accounting firm. This isn't data entry. This is the Department of Defense, and I'm getting the scoop. That's as you say that, there's probably people out there that are like, see, I knew it. I knew there was inefficiencies in the government and in the Defense Department and all this.
It is all the bureaucracy. It really is that bad.
Yeah.
What people say.
You ever watch The Wire?
No.
It's a great TV show. It's probably my favorite TV show, but The Wire is based on the Baltimore Police Department / city government, and the years that it covers are like 01 to 06 or 07, I think. And it shows like the inefficiencies in the policing, but then also the inefficiencies in the crime world, and then also when those two worlds merge together and there's this situation where it feels like the cops finally got the right person that they needed to get. There's like a bureaucratic leap that sets them back to basically square one. And it's because it was written by a guy. It was co-written by a guy who was a detective, I believe, in Baltimore PD for a decade plus. And then the guy that co-wrote it with him covered the police department for the Baltimore Sun newspaper. Okay. So they had real first-hand experience of certain corruptions. Depending on whether it was the criminals, the cops, or the people that were in government. And it's a phenomenal show. Like I said, it's probably my favorite show. And there's a lot of characters, but most of them you'll get introduced to in season 1. So it's it'll be a lot at first, but those are pretty much the same people throughout.
So there's a lot of government intervening and screwing with their investigation. Yeah,
and a lot of pork barreling where once the government people get what they want from the police, they then don't follow up and help the police out where they say they're going to help them out.
Yeah.
It's just, and that
probably happens a lot.
Yeah, and then there's police officers in the show that are also corrupt, and they run certain ways and they omit certain due process practices, and so you see that corruption, and then you see the cops that are working against that not able to get anywhere because it's such a muddy water situation. And then there's the criminals, and it's some of them deserve, obviously, the worst, but then a lot of them are just, unfortunately, wrong place, wrong situation, wrong time, Especially when it comes to, drug dealing and things like that. A lot of times people start dealing drugs because of circumstance,
Yeah.
And it's tough. What are you going to do when you're 17 and nobody in your family's giving you money because your family's been broken up by drugs or by the system itself or whatever,
Right.
So it's a heavy show, but it's a damn good one. It's a good one. And I think it just had, I think the reason why maybe not a lot of people are familiar with it is because it was at the same time that Sopranos was also on HBO, Sex and the City was also on HBO, Entourage was also on it, Deadwood, Six Feet Under, Boardwalk.
I've heard of The Wire.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have heard of it, but it's definitely a good TV show. I recommend anybody out there who hasn't seen The Wire to watch it for sure.
Make sure that they do this. My roommate.
Yeah, no, I watched him ride his bike up. So yeah, I saw him there. You saw him here. It's cool stuff. Time lapse.
Yeah, he appeared in a couple places.
Yeah.
I wonder how much money you can make as drug dealing or selling weed. I wonder if they are making a lot of money or if it's just cheap.
Yeah.
Cheap living.
In the show, most of the big money comes from crack and meth and heroin, but there was a time in this country where people.
Do you want another Corona?
Yeah, I'll take one more. There was a time in this country when people who sold. Oh, sweet. Another cat.
There's 2 cats that live here.
Sir, a second cat has entered the podcast.
Yes, at least 2 cats. If more.
Many cats. Feline.
Lots of cats.
Feline.
Very many cats.
Feline. I said, wow.
2 cats, I said.
Yeah.
Where'd they come from?
Sylvester, what a guy. The Pink Panther, also a cat. Big cat.
How many cats are there?
We're gonna deport him. We're gonna send the Pink Panther back.
What about the immigrants in Springfield or whatever? What happened? I haven't heard any news about them in a while.
The alleged they're eating the cats and dogs.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
It's a wild sentiment to make about people.
Do you think that it happened? I think it did. I think they did.
Well, didn't something happen where it was like they did see somebody who looked like he was eating a dead cat, but it was like a white guy and he was on bath salts or something?
Okay, well, I mean that might have happened. I don't think that it all stemmed from this one.
I'm from the west side of Ohio. That shit happens. People eat roadkill all the time.
Yeah, I could see where it might not have happened at all, or if it's just a stereotype like what people from from Haiti.
Yeah, this time it's Haitians. When I was growing up, it was it's been like, what a freaking beautiful meow, dude. That was
a loud one.
You are incredible.
Congratulations on that meow.
Would you like to meow into the mic? Okay. If you ever want a cat to leave, just pretend you're interviewing him. They fucking buckle up like mob. They silence up like a mob boss.
Not dogs, though. Cats do that.
No, yeah, dogs, they'll spill everything. That's why cops work with dogs.
It's tough for cops to work with cats.
If you try to tell like an orange cat to sniff cocaine out of a tire, he's gonna just fucking roll around on the ground and then start biting people's Achilles. And then you have to catch him, and cats are very quick.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite kind is an orange cat.
I've cat sat.
I like black cats.
I do too.
Probably an orange cat is my favorite.
I go back and forth between orange and black.
Which makes me those are probably my 2 favorite ones.
Not a Bengal fan, but I do love
not
orange
a tiny
cats.
Black cat, but like at least medium-sized black cat.
Like a lynx or a panther.
Yeah.
Well, panther.
Once you get to panther size, that's even better.
I think they're technically big cats because I think they're technically jaguars. If you look at a panther's coat, you can see like jaguar spots. It's crazy. I found this out within the last 2 years of my life.
Really? So Panther's got some like black jaguar scheme.
Yeah, like it's black hair for camouflage, but like if you can look up close, like if somebody is willing to lay in the grass for 18 hours and just point a camera and then zoom in on a panther that's about to eat a rabbit or something.
Sure, yeah.
Then you'll see like the reflector.
If you zoom in far enough, you can see it.
It's beautiful.
I thought that a panther was like the same as a mountain lion. Is that true?
Maybe they are.
I keep hearing that a cougar, a puma, a mountain lion, and a panther are all the same.
I think cougars, pumas, and mountain lions and cheetahs are all the same.
No way.
And
a
then
cheetah is different.
Leopard, panther, jaguar, lion, and tiger are like the big cats.
Really?
See, are you able to look it up? Or will Google sue us?
I don't have any resources to find out any of that.
We don't have... Folks, it is 1994. We don't...
We're
what
back
is
in
this,
94.
What is this internet you speak of? I'll tell you what. I'll hit the library tomorrow. And I'll get an encyclopedia on all the cats.
I mean, what is it you want to know?
Call me Encyclopedia White.
I will.
For the rest of the podcast.
Yeah, from now on, the rest of your life.
For the rest of my life, I'm Encyclopedia White. Look up if panthers are jaguars.
That's offensive.
Yeah, I did say a hard R.
That's
on
pretty...
both of those words. Look up if a panther is a jaguar. Jaguar sounded like that was like a Boston guy saying it.
Jaguar.
Look up the fucking jaguar and the fucking panther. See if they're
what you got in them panthers?
Yeah. Pantheon. I'm talking Greece, kid. Where the fuck were you?
We're not talking Panthers anymore. Okay, so Panthers, are they Jaguars?
Yeah, that's the question. And then if so...
Are Panthers Jaguars?
Tell you they're freaking jag-offs.
No doubt about that.
Yeah. They'll ruin your day if you're wandering a fucking river in the forest.
They always fucking ruin your
They
day.
will ruin your day. They are not there to give you money that they owe you, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Did you ever find out if jaguars are...
What is a panther? The thing is, the panther isn't a separate species. They're simply black jaguars.
There we go.
There it is.
And then...
Or black leopards.
Yeah.
Is there a jaguar or a leopard? Alrighty.
And I believe jaguars, leopards, panthers, tigers, and lions, those are the 5 big cats.
Okay, so I'll look up, is a panther a mountain lion?
Yeah, not a bad idea.
Right. I think that we should definitely check that out.
I think mountain lions are tier 2.
The mountain lion, also known as the cougar, puma, panther, or catamount, is a large cat species. Okay, so it's a panther. So what? A panther is the all cat that does
Panther's
is
just
the same as every cat.
It's like when you're. He's like a 5-tool baseball player. He can hide in the mountains.
So
he can swim in the rivers. He can hunt on the Sahara.
The baseball players that play second base and shortstop and all of that.
Utility guys.
Yeah.
If you have a panther on your bench, and you're like, oh my god, our shortstop is injured.
You probably want 5 panthers on your bench.
I would try to get as many.
They
panthers.
can become anything.
Those reflexes too. No ground balls getting through your infield.
Just like, what is a panther?
Yeah,
that's the question now.
I guess so. Yeah, because I thought they were strictly jaguars and leopards.
Yeah, I wish there was a list that would tell you. I mean, there probably is a list, but
pretty sure I ran across a panther one night. I was camping with my buddies out in Fort Shawnee, and there was an alleged panther on the loose. And I got up to pee when we had this bonfire going. And when I got up, I saw like a really quick flash behind me. Now, my thing is, I've always said it could have been my shadow, but most people say, well, you don't move quick. Touche.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps I scared off a panther. Perhaps it was never there to begin with, but yeah, there was definitely a panther running around Fort Shawnee at one point in time.
Yeah. What was the flash that you saw?
Possibly the panther. I mean, I couldn't get a good look at it. I just heard a bunch of ruffle. And
by flash, you mean like something rushed through the
I think it
trees.
took off. Like, so we were like surrounded by trees, but we had like this fire going. And I was sitting like here. And I was like, I gotta pee. And I was gonna walk to this tree that was like 10 feet away. And I turned up. And I got around.
10 feet too far.
And all I heard was just a rustling. And I saw like a flash just jet off. And I was like,
jet black.
Hey guys, did anybody else see that? And they were like, no, what happened? And I was like, I thought I saw something just take off. We didn't think anything of it. And then I guess the next day in like the paper, there was this article about how there was allegedly a panther running around Fort Shawnee, Ohio, up near Lima, where I grew up.
Okay.
So did I see a panther? Who's to say? I'm going to go with yes, and then I'm going to tell people I scared him off.
Yeah.
Because 17-year-old me was an alpha.
Yeah. I wonder how that works by age, being an alpha.
Yeah. Well,
is there a time, and is everybody an alpha at the same year of their life?
Or do you just does alpha choose you? Like, is it one of those where it's like, you could be 38, you could be 14. When's your alpha moment going to happen?
Yeah, because it's like for everybody, there's a year that is when they're the most an alpha.
And I think that panther knew that I was a virgin and was like, I can't fuck with this white virgin angry guy because he'll kill me. He's got nothing to lose. He's all backed up on testosterone. You know, he punches holes in walls when he throws interceptions in Madden. I'm not fighting this guy.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a smart move by him.
34-year-old me, Panther's kicking my ass. I don't got any of that left.
Right.
I've had a sex before.
Uh-huh.
I did.
So you could fight the Panther at that point.
Yeah. The Texans came in 2002.
Mm-hmm.
They had the Oilers before that. I think the Oilers and Browns moved at the same time. They were rivals at one point in the AFC Central.
What's the deal with the Browns? Can you tell me about them?
Where do I begin? So they let Nick Chubb go. I've been in a sour mood all week. I haven't been able to talk.
Oh, they let him go?
Yeah. That whole, age value thing. They don't look at running backs as people. Well, the NFL in general doesn't look at players as people. They see the dollar sign, and the minute that the productivity doesn't match the dollar sign, they're looking to get rid of you. And so that's pretty much what happened. Is Nick Chubb had a horrific ACL injury. It's like his second or third one on the same leg. And then last year, I think he broke his ankle or broke his foot. So he didn't get another full year in. So the Browns are looking at him like, we can't afford him for what he's going to provide. But the Texans are like, shit, we'll take him. Because even if we get 3 good years out of this guy, we've got a pretty good team. We've been in the second round of the playoffs.
He's not injured right now?
Yeah. No, well, Nick Chubb broke his foot with 2 games to go last year, maybe 3. Okay. So he's probably recovered from that.
They just think that he'll get injured again, though.
Yeah, they think he's just past his prime. And
how old is he? Do you know?
29, which is what's so crazy. 29 is nothing. It's nothing in most fields, but with running backs, that's like a death sentence to be 29.
Right.
Just by the numbers. But,
he still probably has a couple good years.
I think so.
He could be like Frank Gore.
Yeah.
Frank Gore just went on forever.
Fuck yeah. Who's another? Adrian Peterson bounced back from torn ACL and a torn Achilles.
He had a couple good years when he was old. Mm-hmm. And Derrick Henry is sort of around 29 right now, and he's still maybe the best running back in the league.
Yeah, he led the league in rushing last year. Absolute tank.
Mm-hmm.
Would not want to tackle that guy in the open field. He stiff-armed somebody on Monday Night Football last year. I remember, I hate the Ravens, but they wore those all-black uniforms, and they always fucking kick ass when they wear those. And I don't remember who they were playing, but he just took somebody and fucking threw him into the ground, and the dude fucking hit the ground and bounced. And I'm like, that poor sap, he was just trying to do his job. In our line of work, that's like sending a wrong email. That's like the NFL version of sending the incorrect email. You chose to tackle the incorrect guy.
Right. Don't even try.
No, let him score. It'd be like getting in the... Remember, they always used to say...
When he's, going, and he's going that fast, when he's Derrick Henry.
He's got a head of steam. Just let him go.
Yeah.
You're going to give
yourself... You have to make it look like something for TV. Or whatever.
Try and hit him high so that...
Yeah, you will. You'll get a concussion.
Absolutely. He
dive at him and he'll knee you in your head.
He fucking retired a guy one time because he kneed him in the head. And the guy was like, I don't really fucking play anymore. Yeah. It's like my 35th concussion in my life, dude. And Derrick Henry is the one that, if you get a concussion from him, it's not even worth it. It'd be like getting punched in the head by Francis Ngannou. That one UFC, I think he's with Bellator now, but he was in Jackass because he punched so hard.
Okay.
They had him punch that one guy in the nuts even when he was wearing a cup, and it still fucking hurt him. Fuck that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That he's able to do that.
Yeah, that he's able to throw a punch that hard and that somebody can take that punch to the nuts.
What do, cups, what are they, the limit? What's the limit? There's, it seems like it shouldn't be that protective.
It's good for some things, but
But somebody should be able to come along and punch it. And
it's not as protective as we maybe were led to believe as children.
If that guy punched you with a cup, that would be...
Even with my little dick and nuts, it would still hurt. Because he would rattle that plastic up against my groin and... Yeah. It would not be comfortable. It would be very painful in many aspects.
Sure, yeah.
So, if I could go the rest of my life without getting punched in the nuts, I think I'd live a good life.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what's got to happen. Just no punch in the nuts.
It's in that it's in my top tier.
Is that your top fear?
It's up there. I used to play bag tag with
the
my
number
friends.
one thing you don't want. I guess.
I've taken a lot of hits to the nuts over the years. Some intentional, some accidental. But I would like to go without it. And it's hard too because, like, you know, sometimes, you know, you go over to a friend's house and they have an adorable dog, and the dog's all excited to see you, but they always just hit you in the nuts.
Yeah.
And then there's also like the punch versus flick thing, where it's like, I don't, you know, sometimes barely getting hit in the balls is actually worse. Like, maybe I would rather have a punch.
Right.
There's no winning when it comes to ball pain, but some people, it's their thing.
Yeah.
Some guys pay women.
Some people
in
get
Vegas.
off to that.
Quite literally. Some men will pay women in Vegas on
Some
street
people
corners.
get lucky.
Yeah,
to have that happen to them.
To kick them in the nuts because they are so turned on by the woman.
Mm-hmm.
Or step on their nuts with the high heels. I could never.
That's the good shit.
Apparently.
When that's going on.
But you know what? I say that now at 34.
Folks are having fun out there.
Maybe when
God love them.
Yeah, and maybe when I'm 44, I'll want that. I don't know. Right now,
Right.
I could say never now, but who's to say?
Yeah, and it kind of like it's upsetting to think that I would for sure not get to that point. It's like that I would never get to do that.
To be that happy.
Yeah.
To be that fulfilled. You and
Yeah,
I will never know
nothing.
happiness like a man getting kicked in the nuts by
When
a sex worker in Vegas.
yeah, that's when you know that it is happiness for that they're doing that and to do it. That's real happiness.
Just getting your nuts stepped on outside the Bellagio while that water fountain goes up. So that's happiness you and I might not ever know.
Probably not.
I guess we got to take people's words for it.
We just gotta go on more adventures or whatever. We just gotta go to places, travel a lot.
If you're the shittiest hotel in Vegas, book Matt and I to be your comedians for a week. So we can.
What if we did a duo? That'd be good.
Yeah, where we co-headline a show and then we get our nuts stepped on by a sex worker. Absolutely.
At the same time.
We just take a selfie, like while we're getting stepped on.
Yeah. We're not promoting the show or the
No.
comedy either.
No.
We're promoting that.
Yeah, this is our what do they call it? A carousel, our Instagram photo dump. It's just us getting our nuts stepped on. Yeah, I know this lady named Bubblegum, and she kicked me in the nuts for $25, and Matt recorded it. I've never come
She's
that
pretty
hard.
hot.
Yeah, you know, some lady named Sparkle might fucking twist
She's
your
out
tits
there.
while she does it too. You know, you never know.
They've all got different tricks, and I want to explore all of them. See what's going on. See what they got.
Maybe they
all have different specialties. Like, they're out in
Sure.
Vegas. They're like...
What if they tase you while they step on your nuts? Like, what if they just tase you in the nuts? There's the possibilities are endless.
For sure. All the combinations of things.
You gotta not have a narrow mind about this.
Uh-huh.
You have to be very open-minded
Yeah.
and want to experience your true self. And your true self is getting blood to shoot out of your dick because you've been kicked in your nuts so hard.
Yeah. And out of your mouth and in your lungs or whatever.
Maybe an eye turns red too because you just bust a
Get
blood
a collapsed
vessel.
lung. Whatever.
Why not? Yeah.
Sure. Get arthritis.
Yes. Well, that's a little long term.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That'd be like edging. Like, don't worry, she's stepping on my wrist now.
If you do it enough times.
But in 25 years, I won't be able to grip a coffee cup. Sometimes the long way is the way to go, you know? Sometimes the long way, the road less traveled is the one with the most fulfillment.
Yeah. So that you're getting those long-term ones, like carpal tunnel.
Yeah.
If you do enough, like, whatever, on your own, that you're aiding it or whatever.
Where is this carpal tunnel you speak of?
It's out in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
The carpal tunnel.
That carpal tunnel. The carpool tunnel. There actually is one of those in Pennsylvania.
Is there really?
I think
Are you serious?
I think when you enter into Pennsylvania.
They like to carpool out there?
Yeah. When you get up towards New York. There's carpool lanes.
Oh yeah. Oh okay. Yeah.
Bridges
So
and
they like
tunnels.
actually organize that. That's wild.
The part they don't tell you about.
Other cities probably try, but they don't like.
No, you can never be Pennsylvania heading into New York. That's just,
New York gets it done for.
yeah.
They get people to actually carpool or whatever.
Yeah, if you ask any New Yorker, they'll tell you New York gets it done, and they'll tell you why your city sucks.
Yeah, pretty much. I think.
If you ever want to hear about how you grew up in the worst city in the world, just ask a New Yorker, and
they're better than all of us at everything.
Absolutely,
it's because of the news.
Yeah.
It's because like New York.
That's right.
Is part of it, and they're like the media and news capital of the world.
Your news, New York. It's all
sure.
right there. They do.
And they get to propagandize themselves.
The NBC building.
They get to promote themselves because they're part of where the media is all coming out, and we're like New York.
We're like, this is the Big Apple. There's not even a Big Apple there. I've been to Manhattan. Every apple there regular size.
Just like the New York Mets. So that's where the Big Apple
That's the
is.
biggest apple, and they're not even in Manhattan. They're in Queens.
I guess that's where that is. That's the heart of New York is Queens.
It is. You got to know the 5 boroughs, or boroughs, as some would say.
They should make another one. Do 6 boroughs.
I think so. I think it's Staten Island, Queens, Brooklyn, Manhattan.
Brooklyn, Staten Island, Queens,
Manhattan, and maybe Long Island.
the Bronx.
Bronx, because they don't count. They don't count Long Island. That's what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Why not?
I don't know. I think
it's bigger than all of the rest of them.
Yeah, and I think when they got Staten Island to be a borough, technically, they're like, we don't need Long Island. We've already got Staten Island.
Yeah.
We'll let everybody who lives on Long Island have long faces because they're not a borough.
They're just Long Island or whatever.
Maybe they could add Long Island into the boroughs, or Yonkers. Perhaps.
Yonkers. I've heard about that.
Good Tyler, the Creator song.
Have you ever been to that retail store, Yonkers?
I don't think I have.
It's like a Boston store, maybe, or...
Nope. Yonkers. Nope, I haven't been.
Yeah, shout out Yonkers. It doesn't exist anymore. It went out of business.
No, that's unfortunate. Big Lots is still here, though.
Is it really?
I think so.
Big Lots is here to stay, probably.
Yeah, few and far between, but we do have a few.
Like, how many Dollar Generals are there?
That's the thing. They started taking over the Dollar Trees and all the other ones. Family Dollars. Dollar General's like... They're the head of the dollar establishment. They're the general, I guess.
That's probably why they're the sergeant. They took out everybody else.
Dollar Tree will mow that forest down.
Yeah, fuck Dollar Tree.
Family Dollar will infiltrate every family.
Sergeants and generals are better than families.
Dollar General, that's it. Yeah.
They can shoot a dad and a mom or whatever. They're equipped.
They have everything.
Dollar General.
Because at Dollar General, rarely anything's a dollar anymore. Although it's still cheap.
That's the thing is like
still cheaper than most.
They don't do everything's a dollar. That's just like at Aldi. I mean, not at Aldi or like at Walgreens.
Dollar Tree did everything's a dollar.
Those other ones actually had dollar shit.
Yeah.
Dollar General is like, whatever. Fuck you, the dollar. Yeah. And they're going forward with that name.
Yeah.
But it's like General.
Yeah.
They
Generally, it's a dollar maybe.
But it's not at all.
No, it's closer to Aldi now. Especially there's one on South High Street that I'm technically not allowed to be in. I accidentally stole a can opener or a wine bottle opener one time. I put it in my pocket.
You stole a what?
Stole a wine bottle opener, I think, on accident.
Oh.
They accused me of stealing a can opener, and I said, I already have a can opener. Why would I steal one? And I bought all my groceries. What happened was I'm pretty sure I walked out of there with a wine bottle opener that looks like that, except for this part's maroon.
So you accidentally just put it in your pocket.
And I was talking to my mom on the phone, and I emptied out everything else, but I kept the wine bottle opener, which is what I went there for, in my pocket. And then the next time I went in there, I got all my groceries and everything.
You went there for it, so you put it in your pocket, you forgot to pay for it.
Yep.
That's interesting.
So I showed up to this dollar. It's called a DGX.
You wanted it for free. like the society that you want.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. Subconsciously, I was trying to start my own thing.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, I went there. I was
renegade
like,
against the system.
Yeah, that was my beginning renegade behavior, was shoplifting a wine bottle opener.
Yeah, I wonder if things like that, should I go into like, oh, you did it on purpose? Or is it like, just that's completely an accident, you know?
It really was.
It's really just an accident.
Like, I was a little high. I walked in there. I was on the phone with my mom. I got the wine bottle opener.
But I like just like that it results, and
Yeah.
then somebody can be like, oh, you wanted... There's something tied to it. There's
it was
a reason.
crazy. Like, they didn't even stop me the second time I went in there. So, like, when I went in there, obviously, like I said, my intention was just to get the wine bottle opener, but then I was like, well, after I drink this whole bottle of red wine, I'm going to want snacks. So I snack loaded up, and then I ran out of room in my hand, so I put the wine bottle opener in my pocket. And then I paid for all the snacks, and then I walked out, and I didn't pay for the wine bottle opener. And then...
So you got that one for free?
Yeah.
You got away with it?
And then a week and a half later, I went there and I got all my groceries, and at the checkout counter, the guy was like, just so you know, we can't have you back in here. And I was like, why? And he's like, you stole a can opener. And I was like, I wouldn't steal a can opener. Look, I'm getting almost $90 worth of groceries at a Dollar General. I don't need to steal stuff.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, we have you on camera, and you were wearing that same blue coat. And I'm like, can I just pay for it, like, the next time I come here? And the guy was like, sure, whatever. And then I just never went back.
Okay.
But I have DoorDash from there, so they don't know.
Yeah.
This has also been like 3 years.
So they were talking to you about the wine opener?
Yeah. They said can opener, but I think they meant the wine opener that I had in my pocket that I absolutely forgot to pay for on accident. But I also got
you didn't do it on purpose.
I got robbed outside of that Dollar General, so I'm like, you know what? This is my get back.
Yeah.
This is my fucking...
Yeah, you don't need to give that to
The
them.
least you guys could... You didn't do anything to the guy that robbed me. The least you could let me do is fucking drink a bottle of wine in sorrow. You know?
Right.
So...
Yeah, they're
maybe,
like, that's weird that they would catch it on camera. They're
Yeah.
like, would they have somebody who like goes back through all of that?
They probably do inventory, and they're like, why are we short this product, this amount?
Yeah, that they would catch that.
And then
they're kind of ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Especially at Dollar General, where everything is
DGX.
just like $1.
Yeah, on South High.
Dollar General, you think that they would let some things slide.
Yeah.
But no, I guess they're...
They followed me around even before that, though. Now, in fairness, I used to look pretty homeless.
You're
I kind of always...
suspicious person. Yeah. Well, you got to watch out for you.
I do. Yeah. I look like at any given moment I'm going to rent a U-Haul and drive somewhere to do something.
And that's scary to the rest of us.
It is.
We're not.
I do have January 6th face. That's why I didn't want to talk about protesting too much. I got a couple cases out for taking a shit on Elizabeth Warren's desk or whatever somebody did.
Oh, okay. So you got a felony for that?
Yeah, I was at the January 6th riots. I was just
if it was anyone else's desk, it wouldn't have been a crime.
No, it was because I went for Senator Warren. Yeah, I tried to... You know how people write their name in P?
And then...
I tried to write my name... I tried to write Pocahontas and poop on her desk. And I ran out of poop. So they arrested me with a poopy butt.
Okay. So, but if you had completed it, then they would have maybe respected it.
I think so. I think they would have been like, this guy poops so much and so cohesively.
He spelled out Pocahontas. That's
that he
a lot
spelled
of
out
letters.
Pocahontas on Elizabeth Warren's desk.
But you just got to like Pocahontas, and they're like, all right, come on, man.
They're like, there's no ha's about this, sir. Get in the car, Stinky. Everybody was pulling their buffalo mask over their mouths so they wouldn't have to breathe in my poop fumes. Sorry, guys. I thought I could do it. Yeah. But my lawyer talked him down. It was all just a misdemeanor.
Okay, so you got out of it.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, well, I mean, at some point you got to look past that.
I think
when you do that.
Most of my employers are cool with it. Once I tell them the poop story, they're like, oh, that's kind of funny.
We just wish that you would have done Pocahontas.
Yeah, like just complete the name next time. A little more.
Then the cops come in and they're just like,
yeah, they're like, there he is. There's old Poopy. There's old Poopy pants or Poopy letters.
Then get like Warren to pose next to it for a picture or something.
Maybe we and her take a thumbs up next to the poop Pocahontas written on her desk.
I feel like she wouldn't have a sense of humor about it.
Yeah, I think she'd be impressed, but also really annoyed.
She'd give a speech about it.
Yeah.
She'd be like, and we can't have people spelling Pocahontas and shit on our desks, whatever.
I'm trying to read
to the masses. Not me in particular, but just like...
Just in theory, if this happened, we got to put an end to it. Yeah.
So I do want to hear more about the Browns and anything else.
Sure. Since we're talking about poop on a desk, we might as well talk about the Browns.
Yeah, we're at like over an hour, so we can wrap it up if you want.
We'll wrap it up with the Browns. Let's see. I think this year they're going to win more games than people think, but they're still not going to make the playoffs. And unfortunately, that might get our very qualified head coach fired.
Because the NFL, so you want them to keep their head coach?
I love Kevin Stefanski. He's won 2 Coach of the Year awards in Cleveland. Quite literally, the only quarterback he couldn't make work is Deshaun Watson.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's almost won a game with Nick Mullen one time on like a Wednesday night, coming out of like the COVID / whatever, when they started playing games in the middle of the week randomly due to cancellations and whatnot. He prepared the team so well for the playoff win over Pittsburgh that he didn't even need to be there to coach because he had COVID. So he was like...
When they had Baker Mayfield?
Yep, and I loved him. And I loved him even when he didn't play well. And they were like, we got to get rid of him because he's not Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, why'd they get rid of Baker Mayfield?
Stupid. It was just stupid.
Is it because Colin Cowherd said that he's bad?
Yeah, and like... He had 2 good years and 2 less than stellar years in Cleveland. And in my opinion, when it's 2-2, you give the guy a 5th year. But they didn't.
They weren't seeing things like rationally or whatever.
No, they were like, why is he not Patrick Mahomes? Why is he not
just like that Herbert? He gave them a playoff win for the first time in so many years, and then he's out of there so quickly.
The year after.
Really?
Yeah. So
that's weird. That's weird for the Browns being that bad.
Yeah.
They win a playoff game and they're like, "Get this. We're
what
on
the
to
fuck are you doing?
We're on to bigger and better things."
Yeah. Like, hey, you're giving him hope. Get this guy out. No, the reality is the next year in week 2, on my fucking 31st birthday, he threw a pass for a guy who quit running a route, and so the pass sailed over his head. Some guy for the Texans intercepted it, and he went and made the tackle, and he tore his labrum, I'm pretty sure, in his non-throwing arm. But because he's shorter than most quarterbacks, he has to like get torque on it, and he can throw the piss out of the ball. He has a very strong arm, but it's because of his mechanics and how much momentum he gets into his throw. And when his shoulder was all fucked up, he couldn't get it all around.
Okay.
So he had like a statistically bad year. We still almost went to the playoffs, and they were like, this guy pissed down his leg, and he's even admitted it, like, I probably should have just got the surgery and wasted a year recovering, as opposed to trying to play through that pain. But that's not the Cleveland way, and he's right, because it was really a no-win situation, where, like, if he had got the surgery, everybody that hated him would be like, see, he's soft. And if he didn't get the surgery and he played like shit, everybody that hated him would be like, that injury is not an excuse.
Yeah.
So there wasn't much wiggle room. Some of us, like me, were loyal supporters. Some people, I think, looked at it logically. But he had a lot of haters from day one. And it was like, I mean, I had friends that, like, every incomplete pass he would throw, even in the good years, they're like, this guy's a bum. And it's like, well, you're going to have bad throws and bad games. Like, you stick by your guy. I mean, Matthew Stafford's a Hall of Famer. But go ahead and look at his first, like, 3 years in the league. I think he was, like, hovering at 56 to 60% completion percentage. But Detroit didn't give up on him. And then he ended up taking them to the playoffs. And then when he eventually outgrew them and they were at a part where they needed to go younger, he goes to L.A. and wins the Super Bowl. So, I'm not saying Baker's going to win a Super Bowl, but he's been to the Pro Bowl twice with the Buccaneers, and he's been to the playoffs both years he's been their starter.
He's pretty good.
I like him. I think he's great.
The Cleveland Browns offense is kind of confusing. I can't identify anything about it. The receivers, it feels like are more in the background usually, because it's like Odell Beckham goes there, and you don't necessarily see him a lot.
Yeah, and he was a frustrating.
What's the deal with their passing game?
So the Odell Beckham project was a frustrating one because Baker's rookie year, he didn't have Odell, but he set the rookie record for touchdown passes in 13 games, not even a full season.
Mm-hmm.
So you're thinking, okay, this guy just broke the rookie record. Damn near had us in the playoffs when we were 0-16 the year before. So then 2019 comes. Well, where they fucked up was the guy that they eventually hired in 2020, Kevin Stefanski. A lot of people wanted him in 2019, but in 2018, after we fired Hugh Jackson, Freddie Kitchens got made offensive coordinator, so they wanted to keep Freddie Kitchens and Baker together.
Okay.
So they promoted Freddie Kitchens to head coach in 2019.
Okay.
And nothing against Freddie Kitchens, but he was clearly overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, and even with how bad Baker had 22 touchdowns and 21 picks that year, but even in all that, we were still in the playoff hunt in December. That was the year Myles Garrett also hit the dude in the head with the helmet.
Okay.
2019 was a rough year for the Browns.
Why did it all go to shit last year?
Well, I think so. 2019 with Odell, he gets 1,000 yards, even though it was a very frustrating year. He still had 1,000 yards receiving. And then 2020, they're like, is this even going to work? What's going on? And they get blown out week one. But then they start putting it together and winning, and Stefanski's their head coach.
Yeah.
And Beckham starts getting more involved, and then he tears his ACL week 6. So then we have to get rid of him, obviously.
That was the end of him. He tore his ACL, missed most of a season,
so
then he was gone.
Yeah, he tore his ACL, missed most of 2020, and then in 2021, that was when Baker was playing with the shoulder injury.
Okay.
And Odell's dad put together a highlight clip of all the times that Odell is open in our passing game that Baker didn't throw him the ball. So you can't have that division in your locker room. So we traded Odell to the LA Rams, or we cut him and they signed him, one of the two.
Mm-hmm.
And then he ended up winning a Super Bowl with them and making an impact. But he also tore his ACL again in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he made an impact, but he would have made an impact anywhere. But as a number 2 or 3, because they're using him as a 3 receiver or something.
So
it was easy for him to make an impact.
Definitely. With the LA Rams that year they won the Super Bowl, he had 2 catches for 52 yards in the Super Bowl, but one of them was a touchdown and the other one was a huge play. And he was playing second receiver to Cooper Kupp, and that was the year that Cooper Kupp went the fuck off.
Yeah.
And I think he had 1,900 receiving yards. So you're right, he fit perfectly well for them, but then he got hurt there, so I think he missed all of 2022. Well, yeah, so then after 2021 happens, we get rid of Baker, and then 2022 we make the big play for Watson, who misses the first 10 or 11 games due to the sexual assault issue. So we played Jacoby Brissett, and I don't think we had a winning record, but we weren't completely out of it.
Anytime we're playing Jacoby Brissett, it's like you're giving up.
It felt like it at first, but he had
there's a number of quarterbacks that it's if they're your starter, then you're
he's like a journeyman.
You could have gotten someone better, and you're not going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but he was playing well. I mean, he wouldn't have been our franchise guy either way because we paid all that money to Deshaun. But for what we needed Jacoby to do, I think he did a relatively good job. He had a few bad interceptions, but also it's Jacoby Brissett.
It's the best they could do probably at the time.
Yeah, exactly. I think his last start with the Browns, he beat the Buccaneers when they had Tom Brady in overtime. So, he ended on a high note. We loved him. He played his ass off for us. He had some really good games. I think he set the single game record for quarterback rating in Cleveland Browns history.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he had some really good fucking games, but it was because he played in Stefanski's offense, which is a good offense. It's based on the run game, and it uses a lot of motion.
Is that whose offense it is right now?
Yeah, and he's our head coach still, Stefanski.
What running back did they get to replace Chubb?
They drafted Quinshon Judkins out of Ohio State and Dylan Sampson out of Tennessee, and they kept Jerome Ford. So that's a pretty good three-headed monster, I think. 2 rookies, and then Ford is experienced in the offense and a really good pass catcher.
Who from Ohio State?
Quinshon Judkins. He was number 1 this past year. The Buckeyes had 32 and number 32 and
number 1 in rushing.
He was I think he did end up with more carries or yards, but he split time with Travion Henderson.
Yeah,
Travion Henderson was number 32. Quinshon Judkins was
better than him.
Well, he was like literally number 1. Like his number on the field. Was 1.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if he was better. They have very similar numbers.
Okay.
Like Ryan Day did an incredible job of using both of them. Travion, I think, might have been used a little more in the pass game, but he got both of them the ball quite a bit. And
is that a good fit going from Ohio State to the Cleveland Browns?
Doesn't happen often. You'd think it would.
I know.
But we're very stupid.
That has happened a lot.
Historically, we are very stupid, and we don't draft Buckeyes who can definitely make a difference. And
is there just a thing about they do that in Wisconsin for sure, where they're like, well, the Packers, they'd be like, don't draft a Badger. Right? Yeah. The same with the Bucks.
It's so crazy.
Yeah, they're like, don't necessarily draft him, only if he's bad enough.
Yeah, let's get him in the 6th round, and it's like he's a 3rd round talent. Go get that player. We passed on Michael Thomas for Corey Coleman, and it should there. I mean, and a lot of Buckeye players go to Pittsburgh and end up having great careers. Cam Hayward,
fucking Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Santonio Holmes was an MVP for one of their Super Bowl teams. There have been a healthy amount of Buckeyes who have made a difference on those Steeler teams. So, yeah. And then, so Deshaun plays in 2022. He's men's amends for the last 6 games. We don't make the playoffs. 2023, he's a little rocky, but then he finally plays a perfect game. Really a perfect half against Baltimore and a huge comeback win, but he gets hurt. So he misses half of 2023 due to injury. So now he's missed time in 2022, his first year. He's missed time in 2023, his second year. And then last year, again, he's having a good half of football, I think, against the Bengals. And he gets hurt again, and he misses most of 2024. And he's probably going to miss all of 2025 because I think he retore his Achilles.
Okay.
So we've had him for, at the end of 2025, it'll be 4 seasons with him. And I think he's played a total of 22 to 27 games tops.
Okay.
He's missed a lot of time, and it's been an absolute failure of a project to have him as a Cleveland Brown.
They should get Jonathan Taylor.
I wouldn't mind that at all. He's a good running back. He would fit our system.
They have a running offense.
Yeah. Well, Stefanski loves running the ball and play action. And that was the other thing. Deshaun didn't like Stefanski's playbook. The whole thing was a mess on and off the field.
Okay, so you didn't like play action, Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson wanted to run from shotgun. And Kevin Stefanski, while he can do shotgun, he likes to go under center and use motion and use bootlegs for passing. He likes to set up the run. Mm-hmm. And Deshaun just wanted everything to be from the shotgun or the pistol. So there was many reasons you could say the Deshaun Watson project was a failure in Cleveland. But that would require you and I to have another hour and a half and probably 3 more Coronas. I might start crying at one point. You don't want to see that.
We just do a Cleveland Browns one.
Maybe the next time I come on your podcast,
we could only just talk about Cleveland Browns.
I will give you the history of the
we should start a sports podcast.
I would honestly...
I don't see why not.
I would tell... You should have comedians come on and tell you about their favorite sports team.
Okay. Just to as a topic within the episode?
Yeah,
or just as a different thing.
Or you just do
Different
two. Yeah, you do two podcasts.
I would start another podcast. I have a few ideas. One of them would just be we do a sports podcast and we get that.
Yeah. I will give you the history of the Browns from 1946 to 2024.
Yeah, you could just talk about that for one episode or whatever.
I'll talk about how
a sports podcast.
There was a league called the AAFC, the All-American Football Conference. It lasted 4 years, and the Browns won every single championship.
Yeah, okay.
And it was from 1946 to 1949.
That's
long before I was born.
We got to bring the 40s back. Them were the good years. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's what Make America Great Again's all about.
Yeah, we're heading back in that direction. So.
Make the Browns great again.
The 40s are back.
Stripping everybody's rights.
As long as the Browns are good again.
Yeah. What a topic to end on. Comparing the Browns to MAGA. Oh, that was fun, Matt. Thanks for having me on, and thanks for letting me drink a couple ice-cold Coronas.
Yeah, you're welcome anytime. Yeah, thanks for coming by. And that's the end of this episode. Currency Podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you.
CBD.
Thank you, Ty.